Today is February 20th, 2021, and I'm turning 66 years old. I know I look a lot older than that, but that's the truth. I'm 66 today. And I got to thinking, I might just start me a blog. I got a lot of things up here in this here noggin. Yeah, sirree, I put my gray matter to work. And I'm a wondering what happened. You know, when I was youngin', most everyone around me had a little bit of common sense. Couldn't call many of them stupid, except my brother, and that's because he was so smart he was stupid. Yeah, that was the kind of person he was. But today, if I had a candle on a cake and I was going to blow it out and make a wish, it'd be for the good Lord to remove stupid. It ain't about your skin color. No, sirree, ain't about your bank account neither, or what church you plan to attend or not attend at all. It's how much gray matter you got stuck between your ears and if it's a working. From what I can see, this whole dang place is full of stupid. Why, let's take Texas. They was telling us on the weather reports. Of course, nobody watches the weather reports. They just let weather happen. That we was going to go into a deep freeze. That nobody put up any water. Okay? Nobody went out and wrapped a few extra things around pipes or figured out where to shut the water off outside if you needed to. Yeah, to keep the pipes from busting. What really got me was all them folks standing in line to get water and food. Well, wait a minute. You knew for a week that this here storm was a-coming, and you didn't stock up on nothing? That's what I call falls under the category of stupid. You'd think I'd know that after going through hurricanes and things like that you need always stay stocked up. You stay stocked up for the power to go out in any weather. Just this time it went out and it was below zero in some places. Folks, are you really that stupid? And then I see this thing about this here Ossia Cortez. Yeah, when her saying we can, now that we land on Mars, and they did that in February, just 2 days for my birthday. And in 1960, I got to see John Glenn on my 5th birthday fly around the Earth. For the first man in space, Mr. John Glenn. Oh, that was such a beautiful day for me. And then watching Perseus land on Mars, oh my goodness, gives me hope I might get to go home yet. Yeah, I figured out that too many Americans, especially, they's got the stupid gene. Yeah, they do. Like this here Ossia Cortez tells us we can now land on the sun as long as we go at night. Yeah. Folks don't do no news watching. They don't do no reading. And they do stupid things. You see, I grew up in the 60s. I know, kidding, I grew up in the 60s when there was race riots for real, catching, burning people, beating people up, yeah, in the schools. Yeah, I grew up in that. And I also learned how to protest. If all you folks had gone to the Capitol building and just surrounded and sat down, we called them sit-ins. If you'd have just sat down and let your voices be heard, demand to be heard, not seen on the news. No, heard. Just sit down. It works. Well, I was but in seventh grade when they started busing in the black folks from over next door to the school. They just lived a block away, many of my friends. And they got to ride a bus and go to school. Well, I had to walk 2.5 miles. That weren't fair. So one of my black girlfriends and another one of my white girlfriends, we went to City Hall. They told us we couldn't speak to the mayor. So we said, he's going to speak to us. And we went and sat down in front of his office door. And in order for him to get out and go home, he's going to have to step over us. And we was going to get heard. And we did. We got heard. Why couldn't I walk over 2 blocks to a bus that comes in half empty? There's only half full. Why can't I walk over there and get on the bus too? And I got to get on the bus too. Why they had to carry me off Alcatraz Island. I sat there in a lotus position and I wasn't leaving. No, we weren't leaving. We was occupying. And they came over and they picked us up and carried us out to a boat and took us back over to the fisherman's wharf and dropped us off. Well, I did my part. But no violence, we just sat down. Yeah, I remember. Give peace a chance. Why can't it be we, the people, demand to be heard? Beat the drums. Chant. Force them to listen. That's the way you protest. Only stupid people would think that it's okay to throw a Molotov cocktail into somebody's business and burn it down. That takes stupid. I grew up living by the golden rule. You do unto others as you want them to do unto you. You folks think it's okay to break into somebody's business? How'd you feel if that's breaking into your house or your business? Come on. I know you got some gray matter left between them ears somewhere. Might need to find it with a pair of tweezers, but it's there. I don't know if I should start a blog or not, because I get a little bit wound up. Yes, I do. I love my country. And everything it stands for, and their Declaration of Independence, and their Constitution and Bill of Rights. I read it. In fact, when I went to school, you couldn't pass from 7th grade to 8th grade unless you'd taken the Constitution test and understood it enough to get 60% of the questions right. You didn't pass. You had to be held back or go to summer school. It was important. You learned that. That's what we stand by. And I don't know. I grew up in the church when I was younger. I don't much attend church these days, but I grew up in a church and I learned about them 10 commandments. And especially the greatest commandment, which was handed down by Jesus, was to love thy God with all thy heart, all thy soul, all thy might. But the greatest commandment of all was to love thy neighbor as thyself. Treat folks the way you would want them to treat you. And a good person, why, they're always honest, kind, and true. You may not like what I have to say, but dang it, I have a right to say it. And sometimes a little bit of wisdom comes out between these here toothless lips. And folks get a little smarter. The next time it gets really, really cold, get you a tent. Set your tent up in your room, small room. Set a tent up. Build you a fire. Keep some wood to burn. Build you a fire out in the yard. Throw you some bricks or some rocks on that fire and let them heat. Then you take them and you put them in a stainless steel spaghetti pot and put a lid on it. Carry it in and set it on a cement block on top in the middle of that there tent. Yep. Depending on the size of the tent, you can sleep, take 4 people in there, nice and cozy warm. And you use sleeping bags. They's meant to keep the heat in. You get your sleeping bags. You put you a sleeping bag in there. Before you get ready to go to bed, you wrap one of them hot rocks in a towel and you stick it down the bottom of that sleeping bag and zip it up. By the time you go to bed, that sleeping bag's done got itself warm and it's going to stay warm all night long as long as you keep it zipped up. Yes, sirree. That's what they're made for. And you look at them and they'll tell you how cold it can get outside and you still be warm inside just based on your body heat. Intelligence. Knowledge. Stop reading the girly magazines and the BS. Get you some old encyclopedias. Learn. Know how this country was actually made and formed and what we can do. Imagine we're going to be able to build a shelter with air and water and food on Mars. And we're going to do it totally by robots. Imagine that. Back when I was a kid, we had a telephone, but it was a party line. There's probably 10 other people on that phone. We had to pay attention to the rings. One ringy dingy, two ringy dingies, one ringy dingy, two short and one long, too long and one short was ours. Yeah, too long and one short. Then we knew somebody was giving us a call. TV, we had 3 channels. We stood outside. Somebody had to stand outside and turn their head, you know. Hey, you gotta go out there. Oh, no, play back. Yeah, we did that. Aluminum foil on the clothes hanger. Yeah, because the antenna got broke off because Grandma grabbed it and busted our ass with it. Yeah. I never got a whipping I didn't deserve. Learned a lesson from everyone. Yeah, kids quit learning lessons. Parents quit being parents. Parents started to think they were supposed to do for their kids. Oh, what a joke that is. But that gets you. Your job's to teach your children to do for themselves. But, oh, these poor little babies. Yeah, when they're 32 and still living in your damn basement and don't even know how to run the washing machine, you didn't do your job. Well, that's the beginning of my blog. If you like it, like it. If not, well, you don't have to listen to it. Just let me know if I need to do this again. Okay, bye-bye. Gotta find the button to shut it off. There. It was the night before Christmas, and all over the floor was sleeping bags stuffed with kinfolk galore, while there was Grandma and Grandpa, aunts, uncles, and their kids too. We had kittens and cats and an old hound dog named Blue. Now, Bertha and Bobby, while they had sprawled out on my bed, they left me crunched down in the corner. My pet coon was asleep on my head. When down in the holler, I hears this curse splat, so I leaped to the window to see what was that. But I tripped over Fat Fred, and that caused me to step right in the middle of Thin Flo. But I still couldn't believe what I sees through the snow. A pack mule was struggling to get up the hill. His rider in the creek had taken a spill Why, the funniest thing I ever saw, it was watching that old fat man. As out of the creek he did crawl, 'cause he was cold and wet, and he weren't moving too quick. But he was dressed in red, so he sort of looked like St. Nick. Well, he got to his mule, and he unloaded his pack. He flung open the door, stepping right on my cat. And then he looked around, he went, "Oh, hey, where's you all's tree?" And I told him, I said, "Well, you dummy, it's out in the woods, where it should be." He said, "Well, where am I put this here stuff?" "Oh, gee, I sure hope I brung enough." And he reached out in that there bag and he pulled out this great big old deer. And my mama jumped up and went, "Oh, honey, praise the Lord, dinner's here." Paul asked that fella, said, "Hey, you got any more in that sack?" And he said, "Yeah." And you know what? This feller had taters and greens and a whole slab of fatback. My Aunt Lou, she smiled and offered that feller some coffee in a cup. But about that time, all damn young'uns woke up. But down in that bag, to my surprise, he had toys for the kids that lit up their eyes. Why, he had a truck for Tommy. For Belle one of them kazoos. He had a little teddy bear for baby Jan with eyes of blue. Why, he had toys for John, Larry, Matt, Jack, Jim, one for Kathy Ann, Sissy, Karen, and Kim. He even had a pretty little old dress for Cousin Emily Sue. And a Bible. Yep, by that mean old Brutus. Well, one for me too. But before I could thank him for what he did do, this feller up and run out the door, a-tripping over old Blue. As he was falling, he made the mistake of reaching out and grabbing that old mule by the tail. Yeah, honey, being drug off through the thicket. I heard him yell. Well, let's just say he was yelling some real naughty words at that mule. But blessings to us. But he said the next time that he came to the Ozarks, he's going to be like most other folks and just ride a bus. Merry Christmas.